Welcome to Yearbook, everybody. How you guys doing tonight? That's good. It's a lot of energy for the end of the semester. So let me start off by asking, who's been part of a yearbook before here at Sublime? Show of hands, show of hands. Yeah, it's something you guys haven't done in a little bit, but yearbook is like a timeless tradition at Sublime. And actually, when I first got here back in August, I had people come up to me and they'd be like, hey, when are we doing yearbook again? And I'd be like, my name is Matt. Good to meet you. Like, coming on a little strong there. And people feel passionately about that, but I love that. I took account of that, and I was like, okay, this is something that people really like. People love yearbook. And all yearbook is, if you've never experienced a yearbook, is it's an opportunity for seniors to sit down and to share some of their story, to reflect on their experience in Sublime, and to pass on some sage wisdom to you guys. So that's what yearbook's all about. And we're going to start tonight. We've got the ladies up here, and we're going to talk to them. And then next week, we're going to have the fellas up here, and they're going to share some of their story. And yearbook has taken on different forms and permutations over the years. Like, it used to be students would kind of get up here and kind of preach like a sermon. And in my experience in student ministry, that's like a panic attack or like an ulcer waiting to happen. Like, students just start sweating and like, I got to go there and say things with words in my mouth. I don't even know. And so people get nervous about that. So I was like, I don't want that. I want to take the pressure off. And then there was a time when it was like, sit-down interviews and candid shots and stuff like that. And that, too, can be a little nerve-wracking because, like, I'm on camera. I'm not used to being on camera. I'm very aware of my hands right now. I don't know where to put them. I'm perspiring profusely, and I don't know what to say. And what happens if I mess up? Do I have to start over? Do I have to start the story over? And so that was also kind of like an anxious situation. So what we decided to do, as I was thinking through this, is I just want to keep it chill. One of my favorite things to do is just chat, to just talk with people. I love it. Conversation, I love it. And so I thought it'd be awesome to meet with these students, and we kind of did this by like group leaders just saying, hey, here's some suggestions, here's some people we think would be awesome at this, and then we picked some from there. And so we have different groups represented here. We have different kind of timelines in Sublime. Some people who are like born inside of this church maybe, I don't know. They go way back to people who are more new to Sublime. And so we're just going to sit down. We're going to kind of talk it out. We're going to chat a little bit. And hopefully there's some insight for everyone here. Hopefully you hear some stuff tonight where you're like, that junk resonates with me. I feel that. I've been there. So that's kind of the point of yearbook. And so without further ado, we're going to launch into it. But first of all, whose Sprite is this? Oh, that's yours? Product placement. Yearbook brought to you by Sprite. Can we get paid for that ad? Someone call Sprite. We're going to donate that money if we get paid for that. Oh, that's all good. That's all good. We'll keep it there. Product placement. We'll make money off this. All right, so first thing is first. We're going to start with you. And introduce yourselves. Give everyone your name in case they don't know you. In case this is their first time here. Just give your name, and you don't have to give your grade because they're all seniors.
Okay, hi, I'm Jenna.
Everyone say hi, Jenna. There we go, there we go.
Hi, I'm Bella.
Everyone say what?
I'm Caitlin.
I am Abby.
Nice. Nice. Well, we're going to get right to it. We've chatted a little bit. I know a little bit about their story, but we want you guys to hear their story. And so I'm not going to ask all of them the exact same questions, but they're going to be pretty close. And that way we can get some insight here tonight. So, Jenna, we start with you. Tell us what school you go to real quick.
I go to Kennesaw Mountain High School.
Oh, any Kennesaw Mountain people? I see you beans. Okay. All right, all four of you. All right, school spirit, everybody. Awesome. All right, so Jenna, tell them how you started coming to Sublime.
So I started coming to Sublime actually because I heard about it in school, like through Bella and Chloe and all them.
Oh, so your friends told you about it.
Yes, they told me about it.
That's awesome. Okay, what has been, in your time in Sublime, what has been one of like the mountaintop experiences? Like one of the best things that you went through in your time at Sublime? One of the best things you've experienced?
Definitely walking wisely late night.
Mm-hmm.
Those are great.
Yeah, preach. I feel like that would probably be a lot of people's answer. Love walking wisely late night. Okay, so that's your mountaintop experience. That's like the high point. That's the high note.
For sure.
What is something, because every student in this room has stuff they're going through, difficulties, trials, and all that. What is the most difficult thing you feel like you've been through in your high school experience, or like junior high to high school experience, or middle school to high school experience? What's that been?
I would say the most difficult thing I've been through is probably like a parent's divorce. I know that a lot of people go through it, but there's definitely something you have to get used to.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's probably a lot of people's story in here. So would you say helped you during that time as you're going through the season, as you're going through divorce, as you're dealing with, because it's not a one-time thing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're getting divorced. Okay, let me process it. Now, now I'm good. That's a years-long thing. What helped you the most in that process?
Probably my small group leaders. Like Jennifer and Caitlin, they're always there for me whenever I need them. And so that would definitely be.
That's good. And so you feel like they encouraged you in your faith, and
Yes.
that's awesome. That's why we do. That is why we do groups, for that very reason. Like, we want people to walk through these seasons with you. We want people to encourage you through these seasons. So from that, what was kind of the turning point out of that? Was it just the interaction with your groups, or is there any kind of something else that you learned in that process, or was it just like straight up my groups and the encouragement they gave?
Like, I would say my turning point was probably like just forgiving like the hurt. It wasn't from a specific person or anything, just like forgiveness. When family and friends, even friends, like they'll unintentionally hurt you, and once you learn to forgive, it's life-changing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So that was kind of that was like a healing thing in that whole process.
Yeah, that's how I like not recovered, but
I get you. That was a turning point for you.
Yes.
All right, I like that. So share with the students, let's see, what is the most encouraging thing or most encouraging moment or most encouraging time in your experience in Sublime? Like, maybe it's a message you heard, maybe it's a song, something that just encouraged you, that bolstered your faith, or, that kind of propelled you forward in your faith.
I would go back to Jennifer and Caitlin as small group leaders, because they, like I said, you can go to them for anything, and just them as role models, it's something you want to live up to, and so they encourage you to be your best because you want to live up to being like them.
I like that. Well, one thing group leaders do, I know, like, I've been a group leader before, and a lot of times they, like, I always say, my group leaders over the years, like, called me out on my junk, like, bro, have you considered this? Or, like, I see this going on, like, maybe check that a little bit. Kind of give us some guidance, some wisdom. What is something you've learned in your time in Sublime that you feel like, I felt a little convicted about this, or like, I felt like this isn't like a Jesus thing. I need to work this out with fear and trembling, like the Bible says. Like, what's something that, like, an insight you've had like that?
Oh, I would probably say like something I need to work on.
Yeah, kind of where you're like, oh, that's not a good thing. Like, I need to.
Probably like jealousy. I feel like a lot of times I could get jealous of people who have, like, I don't know, more money or a better car, like. And it's something I always have had to
like a
work
baller
on.
Subaru like I drive? You jealous
Absolutely.
of that Subaru? Yeah, I know. Everyone's eyeing it all the time. So that's been the biggest thing. Well, similar, and this might be the same thing. I don't know. But what is, in your years and in your wisdom, what is something that you would leave with the Sublime students? Like, what is, if there's something, maybe it is on jealousy, maybe it's on something unrelated, but if there's something where you're like, if I had to preach a sermon, it would be on this, or like, here's something, put this in your pocket, keep it in mind as you go through your high school years. What would that be?
I would say it's really important to trust not only your small group leaders, but also your small group with everything good and bad going on in your life, because they become your family over time.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like some of the tightest groups that I've seen are people that, like, they just keep it 100. They just keep it real. And then they know what everyone's going through, and they see, like, the full, like, narrative arc of their struggle.
Yeah.
So I like that. All right, so we're going to do something. Before we go on to our next interview, I have to spice things up a little bit, okay? I'm going to ask random questions that have nothing to do with anything as well tonight. Because why? That's just how I roll. So, first random question. This is one of my favorites. Our executive pastor here asks this all the time. It's one of my favorite questions. You're stranded on a desert island. Nowhere to go. You've got one book, one movie, and one album. What are you picking?
All right. For the book, it'd probably be like a survival book.
That's smart. See, that's a practical answer. I like that answer.
Survive.
That's smart.
The movie, like The Hunger Games, can't go wrong with that.
Okay, The Hunger Games.
It's pretty good.
Hard pass for me, but I get it. People like
I'm
it.
sorry. What was the last one? An album?
An album. This is the one I judge people the most on, so go.
Shoot. American Teen, probably.
Who's that by?
Khalid.
Oh, someone was showing some love. Wait, who is that?
Khalid.
Oh, that's right. All right. People in here like that album? Is that a banger? Okay, that's good. Okay, yeah.
Do you like it? You like it?
I'm like 50-50.
Oh, okay.
I don't know anyone's albums because I just listen to random songs on Spotify. Plug for Spotify. Spotify makes listening easy. We're gonna get paid for that ad too. All right, so next we have Bella, and I'm actually gonna start with Bella's question with the same desert island question. No, in fact, everyone get in on this. Desert island question. 3 things. Boom, go.
Oh, that was so loud.
That's okay.
My book would probably be, like Jenna said, either like a survival book or like a Guinness World Record book, because I feel like I could look through that all the time and be interested. Because
True.
if I'm by myself, I might as well be entertained.
Well, plus you'd have plenty of time to brainstorm what Guinness World Record you want to
They're
break,
laughing at
you know what I'm
me.
saying, or what one you want to set. There's got to be something that's yet to be done, so that's good. You have time for that. All right.
My movie would probably be Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. It's one of my favorites.
Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. I mean, isn't that your favorite movie?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's Dalton's favorite movie too.
Yeah.
I did not take that from you.
that came out
I
on
did not take
Valentine's
that from
Day.
you.
Yeah.
And then album, I also thought about American Teen or Night of the Opera by Queen.
Oh,
So,
timely. Oh, we got
that
some
album.
Queen fans in the back there. Okay, very
So.
good, very good. All right, Caitlin, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna ask you the same question. We're just gonna go down with that question, and then we'll circle back to you for the other questions. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just keep that question going down the line.
All right. Is it on? Yes. Okay. I think my book would be If by Mark Batterson.
Okay.
It's kind of like a Christian living book.
Yeah.
And I've read it twice, and every time I read it, I like.
But would
get
you
something
want to
more
read
out
it
of
for the rest of your life?
Yeah, it's a big book.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
for sure.
You know what else is
Yes.
the Bible? You didn't say that one. Oh, Jesus juke. I'm just kidding. Actually, that's one of the things for this conversation. It can't be the Bible, because obviously I will give you a Bible, and then I'll airdrop a Bible to you on this island. No food or resources, just a Bible.
Just the
That's
Bible.
all you need.
That's all we need.
The bread of life.
The bread of life.
No. I'm going to airdrop it like from a plane.
Literally
Airdrop it. You kids are your technology.
Millennials.
Yeah. All right, so that's your book.
My movie would be The Last Song with Miley Cyrus.
Some people love
That's
that
my
movie.
favorite movie. That's such a good movie. It'll
All
make me
right.
cry every time. And then my album would be, I think it's called Into the Woods by Need to Breathe.
Yeah,
It's
Need to Breathe is good.
It's like a live album, and it's
Need to
really
Breathe, Need to
good.
Listen, people.
really
It's a
good.
good album.
Need to breathe, need
Yep.
to live. So
Okay. Abby, and then we'll circle back to Bella for the questions.
Okay. Can you say it again?
All right, favorite book, favorite movie, favorite album.
I have no idea about book.
That's okay. Just say Bible.
Well, you said I couldn't say that.
I know, I'm going to let you say it.
Okay, the
Good
Bible.
answer.
Okay. And movie?
Yeesh.
Shrek.
Shrek? Okay. The OG Shrek, the original
Yeah,
Shrek?
yes,
Okay,
the
OG
first one,
Shrek.
yep.
OG Shrek.
And album would be the Twilight movie soundtrack.
The first one.
Yes.
Why are you laughing? That was a good album. I'll give it that one. I didn't like those movies, but those albums were good. Don't hate. Don't hate. There's so much
Yeah.
hate right now. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go to Bella. Let's get some of her story. I like your shoes, by the way.
Thank you.
All right. Bella, you tell us, how did you start coming to Sublime? What kind of got you in the door here?
Well, I kind of, I was based in like Church of Christ in the very beginning of my life, and then me and my parents went to North Metro, and I was involved in KCRG and stuff. But then in 6th grade, I didn't really go to Sublime. I was always busy. Like I was too scared to go. But one of my best friends, Chloe, Chloe and Caitlin, we all had business together, and she was like, "Hey, you want to go to Sublime with me?" And I was like, "I mean, I might as well. I'm not doing anything else." And ended up falling in love with it, and just feeling very at home just from the first time I came. And I got baptized with Caitlin that same year. So.
Ooh, that's good. I like that. All right, so, and maybe the baptism is the answer, or maybe it's something else, but what is one of in your time in Sublime, now we know how you got to Sublime, what's one of the high points? What's one of like the best experiences where you look back like 5, 10, 15 years from now and you're like, that time?
Well, the best experience I had was junior year, late night service at Sublime, and all of that whole service was
At
amazing.
Walking Wisely or
yes,
Sublime?
At
At Walking
Wisely.
Wisely,
That's
okay.
what I meant. And so that service was kind of like the turning point, I feel like, for me. It it kind of like broke me. And it's kind of that time where you just like get that ugly cry and fall on your knees and you're just so upset. And
Like when I watched Twilight, that's when I got that ugly cry. No, I'm just kidding.
And up until then, I kind of felt alone. Even though I was surrounded by great friends and family, I just felt like I wasn't really walking with Christ. And as I'm sitting there like crying and like just worshiping as I get up. One of my best friends, Gavin, he came up and he just hugged me, and it made me feel so like not alone anymore. And it wasn't about just him. It was about knowing that the people around me do care about me, and then God is always by my side, even if I feel like my friends aren't. And so, yeah.
That's good. I feel like that's a good word because I feel like loneliness or like lacking like deep friendship is a problem for a lot of people in high school. So that's awesome you had that experience. One of the things that stands out to me too, this is like a pitch for Walking Wisely. It's a big deal. Like most people I talk to, they're like, Walking Wisely. Like that's the jam. Like that's where things turn around. So like if you guys have never been to Walking Wisely or you're like, I'm not going to give up a weekend. Are you insane? Like it's worth it, okay? Like it is worth it. So anyway, that was a little shameless plug. Also, buy some Sprite. All right. All right, so that's your high point. What is one of the most difficult things you've gone through in your time?
At Sublime or just in general?
I would say just in life or in general.
At the beginning of my life, like early childhood, my dad was an alcoholic. And so that was really hard in my household because, I mean, I'm a kid. I don't really know how to handle things like that.
Right.
And the summer after my 6th grade year, my dad ended up having an alcoholic seizure and almost dying. And now he lived, but he now has a traumatic brain injury. And he doesn't live with us. Me and my mom can't take care of him. He lives with his parents in Alabama. And that's really hard because my dad being kind of difficult in my life in my early childhood, and then all of a sudden just being pulled out entirely. So like
Instantly, like no time to brace for it. No.
It was just hospital after hospital, and then he's just out of my life. And that's kind of hard because when you have parents, you think they're always going to be there. You don't expect them to just leave. And like as a kid, I didn't know how to handle that. I didn't really have the experience enough to go to God for that. And I just felt that's probably where feeling alone really started. So.
And remind me again, what grade was that where that happened?
It was the summer after my 6th grade year.
Summer after 6th grade, okay. So that being the most difficult thing you've gone through, because I mean, obviously I know you now. This isn't like, hey, random stranger, I'm going to ask you these random questions. But like, as someone who, I could say this is the right kind of pride, like someone with pride who has seen you grow, and even just in my year here, who have seen you like grow and flourish in your faith. Again, even in just my 1 year here, what brought that about in this difficult season? How did God use that season to kind of grow you? Or like, you know, they say, I don't want to use like too much church language, but like to conform you into the image of Jesus. Like what happened?
Well, going through something so random and something that nobody's really been through, but going through something so hard, I learned to value the small things that happened in my life and take them with like lightheartedly that this is bad and it seems bad right now, but it's going to get better. And I can use my experience and the bad things I've gone through to help other people go through their things because I didn't go through the awful and terrible things on accident. God put me through them, I believe, to help people around me.
I like that. Well, and first of all, that skill or that mindset is going to serve you so well in life. To just like let little things go, but then also to appreciate little things, that's huge. I mean, that takes some people years. I mean, there's people in their like 40s that are still trying to figure that out. So like, in a sense, even though suffering, I mean, that's a difficult season, God repurposes things or like rebrands things, you know, for good. And that's what I love. Anytime we've talked a little bit about your story, I love seeing that. It's okay. Also, shout out to Dunkin' Donuts. You know what I'm saying? Need to pick me up? Iced coffee from Dunkin' Donuts.
Shout out Chloe Ford for getting me this. Thanks, Chloe.
So, tell me in your time, what is something, someone, a message, a verse, a word, or someone, what is something that has encouraged you in your time in Sublime as you were going through all this stuff and maturing through it?
I think that I think it's more about people for me. It's because I've had so many influential people in my life, like my small group leader, Jennifer. She was so influential in my life and just kind of guided me through my walk with Christ as going into high school. And my leaders now, Laura and Courtney, because Laura went on my first mission trip with me, and it was just like I get to walk with her not only in my mission trip, but also guiding me through church, but also like friends-wise. I think my boyfriend Dalton and my best guy friend Matt have really just been like by my side through this whole like junior and senior year, and it's changed my life. It's been the best 2 years of my life. I can guarantee that. So that's
awesome. I like that. What is something I love you guys having the opportunity to do this because I could get up and like talk and preach and whatever. But like I like when they hear it from students. What is something you want the underclassmen to know? What is something that you, in this whole maturation process and going from do all these terrible things, what is something you want these underclassmen to walk away with? You know, Jen talked about jealousy a little bit and stuff like that, talked about groups. What is something that you would throw at
I think that one of the biggest things is that I see is everyone kind of sticks to their group, and I'm very guilty of this, but you kind of...
Like a friend group or...
Like when
okay.
you come to Sublime, you kind of sit at the same table with the same people, and you don't really branch out, and I know that when I was in high school, like, well, I'm obviously still in high school, but like when they were talking
Remember
about
when I was in high school earlier today? Yeah.
But when you talk about it, you're like, oh, Sublime's kind of a social event. I know I've heard that a million times. People tell it to you, like that's why they don't want to go. But I mean, we're all here. We know that it's not just a social event. That we're all here because we have something in common. But you should branch out and gain new friends and friends that could potentially become family. And it's just like you shouldn't stick to just these people. And also one of the big things, gossip. I think in high school that gossip is so bad, and you have to become to that maturity to realize like, hey, like this is not something I should be saying about a friend or anything. You have to learn to pull yourself away. I think those are the two biggest things I'd give advice on.
I love it. I love it. And see, what I love too is, Jenna, I feel like you were like so like group oriented, like share in your group, be 100 in your group, like don't hold back from your group. And so I love that. And so like in small groups, definitely like dig in, get close. But then I love, Bill, your approach where like, yeah, but with friend groups or like when you're here, like group time is for group time. That's awesome. And like if you guys want to do stuff, you know, outside the context of Sublime. But I love that intention to like also be moving out at the same time. I know you're like that too, like you're super social, know everybody. But I love that because like you've even talked to me before about, you know, when you first came into Sublime, you tried to talk to some of the older students and you felt like they were cool and like they reached out to you too. So, I mean, I think that's a good word for anyone here to just like keep reaching out, keep branching out. If you're like, oh, they're in a different school, they're in a different grade. No, like go talk to them. Everyone's got a story. Everyone's interesting, I've learned. Even if they're weird, they're interesting. All right, so before we pass the baton, before we pass the torch, let me go another random question. What is I ask everybody this. My spirit animal is so me, it scares me. I'm pretty sure I should have been one of these animals instead. But what is your spirit animal? What is the animal that you're like, this animal represents me? If you can, say why. If you can't, just be like, I don't know, I just feel like I am. What's your spirit animal?
I would probably say like a llama.
A llama.
But
That's
I
one of my
don't know.
favorite animals.
I don't know why though.
That's
I
a great
I
answer.
really like llamas. I think they're so cool.
I love watching llamas. Those guys. All right.
So my spirit animal, I would have no idea up until like a week ago. I would say my spirit animal is an otter.
An otter?
Yeah.
Okay. I can see that. Okay, I can see that. I can
Crazy.
see that. That's a good answer.
Because they're so preppy and they're just so energetic, but sometimes they can get kind of mean and I'm not mean, but like I can be a little like,
Maybe some sass.
yeah, I think sassy.
Okay, I get that. I get
Like
that.
the word sassy, but like you know what I mean.
I get you. All right, Kaylin. Spirit animal.
So I didn't figure this out until I got one as a pet, and
Oh, yeah.
it's a squirrel.
That's a great one.
Squirrels are so spontaneous, and they think they can do everything. They can like jump on everything, and I think that's so funny. And you think they're like running one way, and then they like turn another way, and you have no idea what they're doing. And I think that's so funny, and like I just want to be that. Like,
Okay,
I wanna be
you
so
got to
spontaneous.
leverage this opportunity to tell everyone. So tell them about your pet.
Okay, I have a pet squirrel. We rescued him
It's a real thing.
in like September or October maybe, and he's a cute little baby squirrel, and we like raised him and like nursed him back to life, and we kept him in like when he was a baby, we kept him in like this big bird cage, and
A bird cage. Because that's what they make those for. Wild squirrels.
yes, he's super friendly. Like we had him during the winter, so like we had pants and like shirts. Well, we obviously had shirts on, but like when we let the squirrel out, like he would like run up our legs and like run up on our shoulder and like sit on our shoulder, and then he'd like go on your head.
Oh my gosh,
and then he'd, like,
I
go
would
around
legit
on
pay
your head.
$300 right now if a squirrel would just sit on my head. And
It's
like
the cutest
dance.
thing ever. And
I'd
then
pay
they'll,
$300
like,
for
they'll like
that.
come down on your like forehead and
Oh
they'll
my
like
gosh.
sniff your eyelashes because they're like, oh my gosh, eyelashes. And they freak
I'd
out.
be kind of afraid he's going to like claw my eyeballs out. Though.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Tell him real quick, last thing, and then we're going to get to the questions. Tell him about the food situation, about how he,
Oh my
what he
gosh.
does with
Okay,
his
so
food.
squirrels like hide nuts everywhere. And so we have like,
Like walnuts?
walnuts hidden like everywhere around the house. Like I put shoes on and I'm like, oh, there's a walnut in there. One day I like pulled back my comforter and there's a walnut in my bed. And I was like, what the heck?
That's amazing.
So
I love
everywhere.
that.
But yeah,
That's
a
maybe
squirrel.
one of my favorite things I've ever
A
heard.
squirrel, for sure.
All right,
Yep. Go.
spirit animal.
I would have to say my spirit animal is my dog,
What kind of dog is it?
a Corgi German Shepherd mix.
That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. That's so cute. He got the little legs too, right?
Yeah, he
like
has
a
the
corgi,
little legs.
little centipede legs.
And thinks that he's big.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's a good answer. Okay. You feel that connection with the dog.
I really
get it.
do.
I'm a Jack Russell Terrier. That's my spirit animal. A Jack Russell Terrier. They're spunky, energetic, fidgety, twitchy. I love them. All right. Question time. All right. You have to answer all these correctly, or you will be docked points.
All right.
All right. Here we go. All right. What is your actually? How did you come to Sublime? What's your coming to Sublime story?
Bella kind of prefaced this, but it was me and Bella and Chloe Ford. We were all in business together. And I guess Bella couldn't go one day. And Chloe's like, hey, go with me. And I was like,
Did she say please, or
okay.
she just demanded?
she demanded.
She demanded. Okay.
Chloe's
Shout
the,
out to
Chloe's the
Chloe.
kind of person that was like, hey, you should come to Sublime with me. But I love her very much. So.
Yes. Okay, I want to use that as an opportunity. So Chloe invited you, right?
Yes.
Okay, so all three of these students on stage had the same person invite them. So I want Chloe Ford to stand up. Stand up. I'm going to give you shout outs. Shout outs. Shout outs. Shout outs. I've shared this before. I've shared this in Shift before, in middle school ministry, and I've shared it in here. I mean, the Lord's providence, I could have come to church later in life, come to the Lord later in life, obviously. But the reason I started going to church is because a friend invited me. And from what you guys have shared, the reason you started coming to Sublime is because a friend invited you. And that's just something, I knew that about these students, and I knew I wanted to take the opportunity to give Chloe some shout outs on that, because that's great leadership, that's faithfulness, and that's what we all should strive to do, is invite our friends. You know, we want people on this couch that's going to be like, hey, so-and-so invited me this day. Like, they're right out there, they're sitting right out there, they invited me. And I hadn't stepped foot in church in a while, or like I wasn't really interested. And so be that person. I just want to give that quick shout out, kind of commercial break for that. Shout outs to you. You're awesome. All right. Anyway, so mountaintop
Yes.
experience in Sublime.
Okay.
What you got?
Well, I'm going to surprise you with this answer. It was Walking Wisely.
Oh my gosh.
I think it was either my 7th or 8th grade year, and it was the midnight service, and they were playing a song, and that's like when I surrendered my life to Jesus, and it was just emotional because I like opened my eyes, and there were like 3 of my other best friends that were like standing up, you know, they're like, stand up if you just like accept your life to Jesus, you know, that whole thing.
Was everyone sitting down at the time?
Yeah, everybody was
Okay.
sitting down, and they're like, okay, well, like if you're brave enough, like, okay, everybody stand up and then open your eyes. And so like I stood up, and I like was so scared, and then I like opened my eyes, and then I saw like 3 of my really close friends, and I started bawling. So
That's awesome.
I think that was like a good scar to have. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
that terrifying moment of like, I'm gonna be the only one standing, but I
Yeah.
wasn't, and I was like, oh, it's so nice.
Did you call that a scar because of the sunrise service
Yes.
sermon from
Yes.
Daniel Hicks? Shout out to
Yes.
Daniel Hicks. Shout out to my boy
Shout
Daniel
out.
Hicks. He
That was
preached
good.
Easter Sunday sunrise service. Killed it. So that was a high point for you. What is something that you went through in your time with Sublime, like these other students have discussed, that was difficult? What was a difficult season, a trial you went through, something you had to face and endure, despite, you know, this awesome mountaintop experience?
I think it was right before my mountaintop experience, like maybe not even a year. It was, I found out what happened was my dad had an affair with my mom's best friend, and that kind of just like tore our family apart, really. Like there was like fighting, and like our house life just wasn't good, and I had to start taking care of my little sister. She was, I can't even remember how old she was. She was little though, so like it was really tough on my family, just because like my mom was trying to figure out how to deal with this, and she was trying to like find a coping mechanism for it, which was pretty much like she would just ignore it, and they would like go out to bars, and they'd stay out till like all hours of the night. And so I had to fill a role that I didn't think I was ready for, which was like taking like a maternal role for my sister. And so like I would have to like step up in ways that like kids really shouldn't have to step up. Like I shouldn't have to like worry about dinner, or like worry about how like she's gonna get to this place or this place, and like try to figure that out. And like at such a young age, like I didn't even drive at that point, so it was really difficult to like go through that alone. So yeah, that was really tough, like going through all that.
In that situation, which, I mean, again, I mean, no, I've not experienced that, and so, I mean, that's quite a weight to carry. How in that time, again, for the year that I've known you, I can absolutely see, I'm like, wow, what a mature Jesus follower, what a leader. I mean, just seeing how God has moved in your life and impacted your life. And sometimes, not even the time I've been here, it's not even about the time I've been here, but I can just tell you've been on that trajectory. How did you experience like a turning point in that? How did God work in your life? What did God bring about in that?
I think really at the beginning of when I like found out it happened, and I was really carrying that weight, and I was just so like, I was so lost. I just had this moment where I was like, and this was after I was saved pretty much. So like this happened and I got saved, but like nothing was really changing in my life, like difficulty-wise or anything like that. And I was walking very idly in my walk with Christ.
Man, that's a great way to put it. Can I borrow that for a sermon someday? That's good. I'm going to take that.
And so I think it was just like one night I was like, there's no way that I'm going to get not only myself through this, but my sister through this, like without Christ on my side. Like there's no way I'm going to be able to like dodge and weave all these bad things that are happening to me and still have like a good face. And there's no way my relationship is going to grow if I don't turn to him. Because the only thing that's like steady in my life is like the only thing I've got to hold on to like through all of this is like my faith with Christ. So like I've got to hold on to that, and I've got to step up emotionally to get not only me but my sister through this. And it was just like it was like an epiphany. Like it just, I don't even know. It was the Holy Spirit. I tell you what.
Yeah. No, that's what, like we talked, what was it, last week in Philippians 4:13, where it actually reads, I am strong in the one who is strengthening me.
Yeah.
Like that, I mean, that's that right there.
Yeah.
Where it's like this like, I mean, it's a strength that comes not just from yourself, but like that presence of the Holy Spirit dwelling with us, pushing us forward. I love
and I
that.
think after that, I could really see a difference in like how I was acting and how I was taking care of my sister, and how my parents' relationship was growing. Like my parents are definitely better now than they were then, and I still kind of have the mother role of my sister, but that's just out of habit.
Yeah.
But it's definitely got so much better. And
so you've seen some healing in your family?
Definitely.
Some growth there?
Definitely. And I don't think that would have changed because my family doesn't follow the Lord or anything. I've been trying to get my sister, but I don't think it would have been as good as it is right now if I wouldn't have like kept a hold on Jesus and like just prayed for them constantly, and like no matter how hard it was, because like praying constantly for something and not giving up is so difficult. So like getting through that, I think it's really changed my family for the better. So
I love that. Well, I think this is a good pivot point to go into, because you and I have talked a little bit, and I know where your heart's at when your mind's at with some of the stuff. So I would go ahead and leverage that, kind of having like the full arc of your story at this point. What is some advice that you would give? What's some takeaway? What's some wisdom, some knowledge you would drop on the underclassmen?
I think I'm going to give this advice because I wish I had this advice, but like.
That's a great perspective.
Yeah.
That's a great lens for that.
Yeah, because like I wish I would have known this when I was like a sophomore or a freshman, or honestly even in like 8th grade. Like I needed it, but we get so caught up in like how busy our lives are. Like we get involved in I was involved in student government, like sports. I was staying after school all the time, hanging out with friends. Like my life was so busy that I never had a set time for like a quiet time or like time with the Lord or time with prayer. Like I'd have like the mornings and the nights, but that's like it. And I realized like that's not enough. So what I did to like solve the problem and like have like a solid like routine in like coming to the Lord and everything was like I would get to school 30 minutes early, and I'd like do my quiet time in the car and everything, and like that was tough. That was really tough because I cannot wake up early.
I usually get to school 30 minutes late.
Yes, I was
so
like,
I
are
get,
you kidding me? Like I got here 30 minutes for nothing. But then I realized like, oh, this isn't just nothing. Like this is valuable time that I'm spending. Like this is definitely a good investment that I took. And so that might not be what you guys have in mind for like your quiet time or anything like that, but like I definitely encourage you guys to like find a set time and like not like and to hold to it, because like if you start being like, oh, I can miss it this day, like next thing you know, like you're not going to be doing it. That's what happened to me multiple times, and then I realized that like I really have to stick with it, and I think that's very important.
I like that. That's a good word. All right, I'm gonna let you. We're gonna pivot from this before we get to you, Abby. We're gonna open up with one more random question. Okay, rando question to break it up a little bit. You kick us off, and we'll go this way. Celebrity person throughout history, anybody. We're going to take away biblical characters because we all want to meet Jesus. You know, well, that makes it sound like we want to die. We all would like to hang out with Jesus. Who is someone from history, musician, historical figure, whatever, you'd want to have lunch with? And they'll pick up the tab. Don't worry.
Oh, good.
Okay? So it could be someone rich. You could just go all out.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
He
Okay.
is so interesting. Like you
That's
see
a good
him
one.
on the movies and you're like, oh, like this guy's hilarious. But then
Yeah.
like I watched a documentary about him and he's like this crazy interesting guy. Like he's gone through so much in his life.
Yeah.
And he's very artistic, and I realized
He
that
is.
I
He's a
have like an
genius.
artistic like mindset as well. So I think that'd be really cool to like sit down with him and be like, hey, why'd you make this weird painting? Or like, why did you do this? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I think that'd be really cool. So
Cool.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can they be a cartoon?
They can be a cartoon. Fictional characters are allowed. It could be Chewbacca from Star Wars. I don't care.
It's not that.
I know.
But
It's just for example, that might be mine.
any Disney princess.
What about one better? Every Disney princess.
All of them.
Oh yeah. Did you see Wreck-It Ralph 2? Ralph Breaks the Internet.
I did not.
In theaters. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm getting all the ads tonight. Okay, you got to go see it. There's a scene with all the Disney princesses,
I want to be there.
and Ralph dies at the end. No, I'm just kidding. He doesn't. All right. All right, Jenna. Person from history. Welcome back.
Okay, mine would be kind of actually personal, not really like anyone famous or
Yeah,
anything.
it could be
It'd
anyone.
my granddad. I never met him, but everyone says I'm just like him. Like my parents all are like, "You're just like your granddad, Paul," and I'm like, I don't know him.
Is that good or bad? I don't know the guy. I want to meet him to determine for myself. That's a good pick. I like that. I like the personal pick there.
I was saying that. Okay. I think my person would be Walt Disney, because I know a lot of people know how much I used like nonstop Disney was like I just like embody Disney, and like
Okay.
part of me still does. But
Have you been to Disney World?
yes, I've always wanted to go to Disneyland, but it's just kind of like it's so like all like Disney World and Land's so full of dreams. I feel like Walt Disney would be just the same, and I feel like to be able to see those dreams just blossom.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool.
Plus, he'd be shocked probably by how much he owns. Disney owns everything. I'm pretty sure Disney owns me at this point. I'm just going to say, like, Disney owns everything.
Disney owns my shoes.
Yeah.
I just feel like
Oh, those are cool. I love them.
Hey,
All right.
Disney. Those are Disney.
We come to our final student, Abby. Abby, let me ask you, and tell the students here, how did you come to Sublime?
So last year, around like March, I was like, hey mom, I really want to start serving in kids ministry. Don't know why, but I just did. And so I did, and I met Jess, and she basically like changed everything for me and was like so awesome, and just like showed me like what I wanted to like, how I wanted to live. And I was like, hey Jess, like I really want to go to Sublime. And she was like, oh my gosh, she started freaking out.
I could see
and
her
she
saying
was
it like that,
like,
too.
oh my gosh, I know the perfect leader and leaders. And so she just gave me their number and like started texting them, and then saw them on the first day of Sublime this year.
And those group leaders are?
Courtney and Laura.
Shout out. Give it up. All right, also, I want to give shout outs to Jess McGee. Are you here? Jess is on staff here. Where's she at? I'm blind. Jess is on staff here, and she's awesome. If you don't know her, you should. So, all right, so I love your unique take and your unique story because you didn't, come up through like, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. You're new to Sublime this year.
Just like you.
Yeah, yeah. We started on the same day. We started on the same day. Yeah. We have just as much inexperience. I like that. So, what has been in your brief time here? What has been your mountaintop experience? Best thing you've experienced in Sublime?
I would have to say, just like every time I'm here, like
Wow.
I don't think I have like one moment that I would just like
That you'd point
say.
to?
Yeah, I would just say like, just like meeting new people all the time and
Yeah.
just like being here every week. I don't think I've missed a week at all. And
I keep attendance, and you have. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I don't know.
But
I
like-
know off the top of my head how long,
but
how
I
many times
think
everyone's missed.
every week is just the top for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You and I are similar in that, where like we've talked about this before. Like I'm not like a mountaintop person. I'm more of like a just like steady. So yeah, I feel you on that. I vibe with you on that. All right. So what has been one of, just like we've asked everyone else, what's been one of the most difficult things you've gone through? One of the toughest times in your high school experience?
I would have to say when my brother started abusing alcohol, and that was really hard for me and my family.
Family stuff.
And I just needed like more to like look up to because it was very unstable.
You feel like you need some more support and consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So how did God use that situation, leverage that situation, work that situation out? Like, what has God taught you in that? and grown you?
I would just say to like stick with any hard situation and just like look to him, because in the end, like it definitely like gets better and you learn from everything, and every like thing that happens in your life definitely like happens for a reason. I think someone said that. And yeah, just it all works out in the end. So
I know we talked before about how it's kind of crazy, but like you talk to people as they're like going through a difficult time, and it's like it always does. Like there isn't always another side to it, and then you can like look back and see like, oh wow, like the Lord really did something here. And so that's been your experience. in
yeah,
that?
it has. Like my family is like doing a lot better, and like my brother is definitely doing a lot better, and we're like extremely close, and we're like gonna move in together and
Yeah.
like live great, live
Yeah.
with God.
Did your family? So you started serving here. Was your family coming here at the time? Or,
We were coming pretty like irregularly
yeah.
at first, but I was like, hey, I'm gonna go, and
And you took
then-
the onus.
Yeah.
You did that.
I was like, I'm going to go. I'm going to start going. And just, then my mom was like, okay, well, if you're going, then of course I'm going to go with you. And so we
Love
just
that.
started
I love
coming every week. And then, like, my dad would come with us, and then my brother comes when he's not working.
I love that. So like you kind of led the charge on that, and then like one by one, everyone else. I mean, that is being a leader. I love that. I love that. Well, because you kind of, I love that like in your difficult time and in your answer to that, you also kind of gave us like a good word on some helpful advice of like, hey, realize it's all being used. It's all God's using all of it. It all works out. So give us, instead of maybe like something to walk away with, share with us a little more of your story. What's been one of the most encouraging things for you? So if a student's going through a hard time and like, hey, I feel you, I need some encouragement. What's been one of the most encouraging things that you experienced in your time in Sublime?
I think what's encouraging to me is just being here and listening to other people's stories, because sometimes like you never know, but like someone could be going through the exact same thing as you, and then like sometimes when like I hear or I talk about my story, and then people like are like, oh my gosh, I've been through the exact same thing,
Right.
and like it's just, that's one of the most encouraging things to me. So like always like sharing is like really important, because so many people can like benefit from that and get encouraged.
I love that. I love too that you've had to I don't know. I feel like, and this is a great, wonderful thing, but we start now, like in 5th grade, kids come into our students come into our middle school ministry called Shift, and they're just there every year. And the idea is that they work up with their group and their group leader and stuff. What I love is that you came in your senior year, having gone through none of that, and you came in, and you've talked to me about this, but like you told me, like, I just kind of made my own community. Like, I just like dove in. And so props to you for that, respect to you for that, because that's not an easy thing to just come in and just be like, okay, like I'm gonna reach out to my group leader. I'm just gonna jump in and like listen and share my story and connect. So major props to you for that, real talk. So guys, that's it. Those are our questions. Now you guys ask me questions. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. We're done. I don't do the talking tonight. But yeah, I love this experience. I love hearing the stories. I hope this was encouraging to you guys tonight. And I just wanted to take like 2 seconds to say something and to kind of connect to something we've talked about before. We did a series before our Philippians series called Before Philippians. And before Philippians, we talked about this one story that happened when Paul was on his way to Philippi. He ran across this woman named Lydia, and how she was like a leader in the church, and she helped build the church in Philippi. And we talked about that week how like you guys, all the girls in this room are called to be leaders. All the young women here are called to like raise up and be a leader, and sometimes there's a narrative of like, wait for someone to lead you. And it's like, no, like lead yourself. You're accountable before the Lord. Be a good leader in your house and in your school and in your community and be Jesus to those people in your life. And then hopefully down the road, the Lord will bring someone by your side that's doing the same thing, You're not just like waiting around in the meantime. Like, no, you're a leader. You're strong. The Lord has called you and equipped you. You're empowered with the Holy Spirit. Like, just be a leader. And I can say that I'm very proud because every single student on this couch, every single young lady on this couch is a leader. I mean, you hear these stories about how they're stepping up and they've been leaders in their family. They've had to, for a time, assume roles that seemed like crushing or like, this is way too much for me, or they had to like take the first step towards getting involved in the life of the church. So I just want to say that I am proud of every single one of you guys. I've been honored in my 1 year here to get to know you guys and to see how you guys have grown even in the 1 year and to hear your story about the whole narrative arc of your time in Sublime. So I just want to say that I'm really proud of you guys. As Christians, you shouldn't be prideful, but like I can be proud for other people, okay? I'm allowed to do that as a pastor. So I just want to say I am proud of you guys. And these aren't the only young ladies here that have this kind of story. So just shout outs to all you young ladies out here who are being leaders in your home and leaders in your community and showing people, hey, this is what the love and compassion and grace of Jesus looks like. Keep doing that. All right, we all good on that? Give me a thumbs up if you're good on that. Give me a thumbs up if you're good on that. All right, we're going to pray out, and then we just have a little party news. But before we do that, actually, let's just give it up for these guys, okay? Let's just give it up. Let's just give it up. I'd be remiss if I didn't do that. Yeah. All right, I just want to pray, and I want to pray for you guys. I just want to pray for all our senior girls. Heavenly Father.